are here at Riverside Park this morning to talk about an exciting project that represents an important investment in this neighborhood here in the lower North End. Some 10 years ago, the city built out Riverside Park, and there had been a mill here for many years. This park replaced it, and it's very well used, especially this part of the park right here, which was a turf soccer field. We're here to announce today that we are replacing that soccer field with an even better turf field. And this is really the work, the culmination of a lot of planning, a lot of hard work to get this thing done, especially under very tight financial circumstances. But what's important to me is that we invest in our neighborhoods, and that's what this is. It's a major investment in a neighborhood that uses this park. This park contributes to the neighborhood quality of life in profound ways. This is where we have tree lightings. This is where we have a skate park. This is where families come together and take in the water views that we have over to my right. And it's a place where folks play soccer, and soccer is a very popular game here in the city. It's a game. There has been over the last few years a demand for more and better soccer facilities, and we're responding to that request. Our residents want it, and for a good reason. Soccer's popular, but it's also a great way to, in an era when we want to get kids out playing, we want to give them a facility that draws them outdoors, away from video games, away from the television, to come out and do this. So we're upgrading here, and what's important to note is that this is a mark of a city government that's operating at optimum capacity. So for far too long in the city, we've neglected our facilities, and they've fallen into disrepair. Not so anymore. We're keeping up. We're planning well. This is being done as part of the capital improvement project process in the city that we've launched a couple of years ago. And we'll have a city now, in the long run, we're going to have a city that has facilities for its residents that are well kept, that contribute to neighborhood quality of life, and that folks can be proud of in general. So this particular project will cost $246,000, but it's going to be worth it. And there are kids in this neighborhood who are going to make their own memories, their own childhood memories, and parents who are going to make those memories as well, because they'll have a great facility to play on. And just think about it: lots of open space in a densely populated neighborhood that has water views. It's a really good thing. It's a really good amenity for the city, and that's why we're taking charge of building it up. I want to introduce Zeb Arruda, who's the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Public Infrastructure, to talk a little bit about the details of the project, and we'll take questions afterward. But this is another project by DPI, another big project that, working in conjunction with R.A.D. Sports. Anthony from R.A.D. Sports is here as the project manager. High quality product, great service, and of course great service from our Department of Public Infrastructure. So I'll just ask Zeb to come on up and say a few words. Go ahead, Zeb.
Thank you, Mayor. It certainly is exciting being here. We were part of the original field that came in 10 years ago, and we're here 10 years later replacing the field. We think this is a great project. If you can look behind us, you'll notice that the first week our R.A.D. came in, they cut up the field. They removed all of the rubber pellets that are inside the soccer field. And one of the things that we worked out with R.A.D. was, instead of taking the rubber and disposing of it in our landfills, we're going to reuse the rubber, clean it up, reuse the rubber, and we're going to use that same rubber back in the field once it gets placed back down. The next process is going to be, we're going to grade the field. Once the field is all graded, the turf starts getting laid down. So we're talking probably another 2 to 3 week process here. The original contract was for October 31st. We're extremely confident in R.A.D. Sports. They've done great projects throughout the state, throughout the Northeast, as a matter of fact. And I think when this is all said and done, we should have a field here for the next 12 to 15 years for the kids in the community, adults, to enjoy for many years to come.
All right, thank you, Zeb. And as I said, I think if there's a takeaway here today, it's that this is an example of of how city services have been upgraded over the last few years. We're maintaining what we have and we're improving upon it. And we're not letting things just sort of deteriorate. And that is a real break with the past and the way the city government has done business. And I want to thank the city council for their support for our efforts in managing city government at a higher level and upgrading services. Steve Martins, who is the city councilor here in Ward 2, couldn't be here today, but he's a big supporter of the project, and I want to make sure that that he gets credit for his support for projects in his neighborhood. With all that, I also want to thank and call up to the microphone Mary Rapoza, our Parks, Recreation, and Beaches Director, who's done a fabulous job in expanding her department's services across the city. They do an awful lot here at Riverside Park all year long, whether it's distribution of food through our food program, summer food program that we have for kids that was just recently recognized by Michelle Obama in the White House, or in making sure that our folks know about the programs in our parks that range from sports to other activity, yoga, I mean, you name it, they do it. So, and this is, again, part of not just an upgrade of the physical plant, but we'll be able to do some more programs here as well. So, Mary, come on up and talk a little bit about that.
Thank you. Thank you. We are so excited to have this turf field become renovated and get back online. This turf field is so popular. We get requests for it for every day of the week. There are adult leagues playing here, there's school groups playing here, there's soccer leagues, and when it's not programmed with actual league play, you'll find families out here kicking a ball around on this turf field. It's just so popular, and because of its popularity, it was starting to show some wear, and this upgrade was really needed, and we are so happy that it's going to be back online soon. And everyone who's out here using this field is going to be really pleased with the results. We just couldn't be happier to have this renovation occurring here at this field. We work with DPI closely on maintenance of all the soccer fields. They've also been renovating a field over at Brooklawn Park, and that will be coming back online shortly too. So it's a demand that we hear across the city for soccer fields, and we're really working to make sure that that demand is addressed. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mary. It's a good point. This is one of many investments in our parks across the city. Brooklawn Park, Hazelwood, we're doing an awful lot of planning work down there now. The construction of 3 new parks in the last 2 years in different parts of the city, and investments in our beaches. I mean, we really believe that having a vibrant and well-run parks department is key to a high quality of life in a city, and we have that here in New Bedford. So I want to thank everybody for coming today, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to field them.
Mayor, the 10-year span of this field, I'm not an expert in artificial fields,
Yep.
but I wonder, it seems like a short period of time.
Yeah, do you guys want to talk about it? So we were told at the time that it was going to be 8 to 10 years, and so this is sort of on the outer edge of that. Do you want to, you guys want to talk about that? Anthony from R.A.D. Sports? You just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Name, sir, please.
Yes, Anthony Marchetti from R.A.D. Sports. Yes, and to address your question, with this field here, with technology being what it is, you know, you have 10 years from this field. You should certainly exceed that, perhaps 12, 15 years, perhaps. So definitely with new technology, the fibers in the field, very durable.
So was the previous field, was that really on the outer edge? I mean, was it not?
No, I believe that would be a little exceeded over the for the technology back then, would be exceeded, you know, maybe 8 years. So you had, you know, 10 plus years, which is good.
Was this field put in about the same time as the Normandin field, Mayor? Does that mean Normandin needs an upgrade?
Oh, they'll all need upgrades at some point. You know, that's just in the nature of artificial fields. I mean, like anything else, they have a lifespan. as do natural fields. I mean, we're totally regrading the soccer field at Brooklawn right now, reseeding it, regrading it, and that's going to take. That has to be done from time to time. So, you're getting really at one of the main points that I want to drive home, and that is for too long the city neglected its assets, and when you defer maintenance. Putting things back into shape costs a lot more. Because this thing was maintained well over the last few years, certainly the last couple of years, we've been able to stretch its lifespan. We're putting in something that has better technology now. It's going to last even longer, but we've got to keep it up, and that's what we're doing with all of our assets.
Does DPI have a list of priority projects, and where did this fall on that? Do you have any idea?
Well, so this is an important park in the city, and so this is certainly high among the priorities in city government. This is a very heavily used park. We all drive by it frequently and see people playing soccer here, and I know that Global Learning Charter School uses this as for gym class in warm weather months. So so a lot of folks get a lot of use out of this park, and I think, frankly, in the years ahead, it's only going to increase as we work on the Riverwalk, which is we're going to have a planning session next week, a public session on the design work that we've been doing over the last several months on that project, and you'll see where this all fits in. But what we anticipate with the development of the northern harbor here, both the industrial activity up Belleville Ave, the retail activity at Marketplace, the residential construction over on that side of the river, up the river right over here, combined with this amenity that connects it all, this park is really going to see an uptick in activity, and that's a good thing.
There's been a lot of talk about news reports about turf surfaces and possible long-term health impacts, whether it's carcinogens in the rubber pellets or that kind of thing.
Yep.
Two questions. One, why turf, not sod?
Yep.
And then two, if you just talk a little bit about the surface and what it is.
Yeah. So obviously that's a little more technical than I'm capable of. But Mary, you want to speak to that? Both of those questions.
Yes, we clearly, the leagues that are using our fields clearly prefer the turf. We get the request for turf, whether it's for soccer or field hockey or lacrosse. Everyone wants to be on the turf field. So from the league's perspective, they much prefer this surface to the sod surface. The sod surface also, there's a lot of maintenance that's ongoing maintenance that's related to that. When you've got a lot of use on a sod field, you start to get compaction, you get divots. So there's a lot of maintenance to that. As far as the health concerns, I've also seen those reports, but I haven't seen anything, specific that's relating that to studies. I've just seen the concerns, so I haven't seen any studies related to that, and I don't know if someone from the industry would have more information on that.
Anthony, do you want to speak to that? I know that there are different types of products in the industry now. Do you want to talk about this specific product?
Sure. So as far as the health concerns that you've been probably hearing about in the news, there's been a lot of back and forth. Basically, the encapsulated rubber has no health side effects, as you've been seeing lately in the news.
There are different products, right?
Exactly.
There's talk about certain artificial field products that according to certain studies, may have some link to cancer. This is not a product.
That's correct.
Fair to say that has been involved in those studies.
That's correct.
And implicated in those studies.
We're reusing 10-year-old tire material.
We're using a portion of the material, correct? And then new infill material will be brought in, correct?
What's different about this surface than the ones that may or may not cause health problems? Like, why certain families have concerns here.
So basically, from the reports we've seen in the news, the rubber, pure rubber, that's not encapsulated or coated, is the ones that supposedly, from their reports, may cause health problems. But all the ones that are encapsulated, basically, it's a coating on the rubber that protects anything, if there is anything there as well.
Yeah, not all artificial fields are the same.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.